I'm grabbing a tiny window of opportunity to write this, because when I look into next week, my calendar, which includes the deadline, is fit to bursting, and the to-do list of things I have to slot in around appointments is frankly getting out of hand. On top of this, every time I make the trip from office to kitchen for a cup of tea, I'm reminded of all the housework I haven't done, and yes, there's the child shouting to me for something again. It's enough to send your stress levels through the roof. So here's this month's question for you. Do you think your life would be easier if I waved my magic wand and gifted you with the ability to deal with more stress or less? In other words, which looks like it would help more, a higher tolerance to stress or a lower one? And I asked this question on Facebook. I got 50-50 from the in the Wellbeing Wednesdays group on Facebook. And when I put it out on Twitter, I got 75% of people thought a higher tolerance to stress would be more useful, and 25% thought a lower tolerance to stress. So that's just a bit of real world figures for you there. I wonder what you think. Take a moment. What do you think? What does it look like would be more helpful to you? Having a higher tolerance to stress or a lower tolerance to stress? The thinking behind most people's answer to this question goes something like this. Well, there's so much going on, I'm barely able to keep my head above water. Any minute now, it seems like the stress is going to overwhelm me. So I'd choose a higher tolerance to it, please, Giles. If I can just handle a bit more stress, I'd be better equipped to cope. This seems logical and sensible, but it's completely topsy-turvy. Author Richard Carlson, in the most well-thumbed book on my shelves, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, puts it beautifully when he says, "Our current level of stress will be exactly that of our tolerance to stress." Oh, I love that sentence so much. Just let that sink in. Our current level of stress will be exactly that of our tolerance to stress. And that's because we've got the perceived source of stress all wrong. When I look at my calendar and to-do list, the laundry and the washing up, it really looks like they're what's causing me stress. But I don't get to experience those things directly. All I get to experience, ever, is the thinking that I have about them right here, in this present moment. Life becomes easier the second we lower our tolerance to stress. Promptly pay heed to the useful feedback the feeling is giving us. Disengage from our stressful thinking and relax into what is now. I was working with a client once who related an insight he'd had about the workplace between sessions. He said, "I suddenly realised that when I retire, the list of stuff there is to do still won't be complete. I thought I could only feel good when it was all done, but it never will be," and then burst out laughing at the huge sense of relief this had brought him. He'd seen the impossibility of stress somehow magically being transmitted from a bit of paper or a computer screen, a project plan, the demands of other people, or the sound coming out of a phone. It had landed for him that stress is a creation of the mind, and as a consequence, his work never looked the same again. Sitting here, writing this for you, my calendar's still bursting at the seams. The to-do list doesn't have any fewer items on it, Fairies haven't come and done the housework, but I'm here, now, experiencing stress level 0. With love, Giles.